Can we ever truly know what's real? The most relevant perspective to us can only be what we know. For example, maybe our reality is not strictly physical, but since we do not explore this fact, we believe it does not exist. You might be thinking, well, of course I know what's real. Also, if we had some higher abilities, wouldn't they have been proven by now? Well, let me present to you the Cave Allegory. Basically, some guys are in a cave. They have been for their whole lives. Their faces are tied to face one direction, and they can only see the wall in front of them. A ways behind them, near the entrance of the cave, there is a fire. Anything to walk past the fire will cast a shadow on the back of the cave where the prisoners face. For the prisoners' whole lives, all they have ever seen are the shadows of passers-by. They are not aware of the fire, what they look like themselves, nothing except the shadows. Furthermore, let's say every time they talk, it echoes off the wall of the cave. Would they not think the shadows were speaking and not themselves? Okay, now imagine one of the prisoners escapes. When he turns around to see the fire, would he not be scared? His eyes may hurt from the light. Let's say he leaves the cave. A normal person may think, I'm free, there is more to life than the cave. But remember, he has never had a reason to question the existence of anything other than the cave. It's safe to say he would believe the cave to be more true than the world outside. He probably wouldn't understand anything. If he looked at the sun, his eyes would burn. Would he not think it was hurting him? Maybe he would run back to the cave, and when he told the other prisoners what he experienced, why would they believe him? They might think he is crazy, and clearly nobody else should ever leave the cave, especially if it makes them act like this. We can also assume they have to come to their own conclusions about the shadow and the cave, making an outside world completely foreign to them. There would certainly be no way to enlighten them. They would not see his opinion as the truth, but a strange, twisted perspective that has no relevancy to them. You may ask yourself what it means to be enlightened or understand reality. For example, the prisoners will always believe the cave is their reality, just like we argue the earth is ours. How could we ever know that it wasn't? I don't think we can ever truly know or understand something entirely. There may always be more questions to be asked. To be truly enlightened would be to know every single thing that exists and why. Maybe education in our society plays a role in the fact that it is hard to get people to question their realities. Everything we know is supposed to be all that is possible. There may be things we are purposefully not taught because of this reason. If you think about it, we are often told not to question things that have not been proven. So, I'm sure education plays a big role in this. But, do we even want to understand a greater reality? The freed prisoner probably felt very isolated and uncomfortable after all. He could never go back to his simple life in the cave after knowing. I would argue that people like this, who have a deeper understanding of something and may be isolated because of it, are needed for societies to advance without a different thinker. Somebody like Socrates had a completely different view on life than a normal person. I'm sure he faced lots of isolation, but this was beneficial for the greater good. After all, I wouldn't be writing this paper about questioning realities without him. Now I must explain the importance of the core elements in my personal viewpoint. The prisoners chained in the cave. They are no different than us. They have lived their whole lives understanding only what has been shown to them and nothing more. They have no reason to question these things, so they do not. The shadows on the wall. This is their reality. It is what they perceive. Everything that we perceive as humans is in no way different than these shadows. For example, humans assume their reality is strictly physical, so why would we be able to say astral project? Why would our dreams be another form of reality? There are many ways to take something like this into consideration. The freed prisoner. This can symbolize the one who breaks free physically or from a uniform chain of thought which has been commonly accepted. He will not always be taken seriously by the dwellers, but does that make him any less correct? He cannot prove his beliefs to them unless they follow in his path, meaning they would have to blindly follow, which oftentimes they will not. The difficulty of enlightening the others. In order to believe the freed prisoner, they will have to rewrite anything they have ever known. They may not believe it is real, even when given proof. The discovery of the outside world. He has accepted the cave entirely as his reality. What he's seen has always been the truth. The outside world at first will be very far-fetched. What reason would he have to believe it? Although the outside world is the truth, all he knows is that the cave is true. He may not believe it for a long time, and I'm sure it would be incredibly frightening. So, what conclusions can you come to about our reality? Thanks for listening.